Tuck of Redmond was from another planet in a time when the average American male was 5 feet 7¾ or something like that. At 18, he was 6'1" and 185.
Tuck was an athlete from Redmond High who in 1919 won an entire state track meet by himself.
He won 7 of his 12 events and came in second in another, breaking 3 state records in the process.
But get this, back in those days, you didn't qualify for time. You had to run against the entire field. So he had to run 5 heats in the 100-yard dash, 4 in the 220, and then he still had to do the hurdles 4 times, and then still find time to jump.
So he was doing something all day, and as he said, he only got 1 jump in the high jump because that's all the time that he had because he had to get to another event.
Tuck scored 38 points by himself that day, and in second place was the entire school of Jefferson High from Portland with just 28.
State's papers call it the single most impressive young athlete in the history of the state in track and field. And of course the colleges took notice of that, and there was this competition between the University of Oregon, Washington, and Oregon State as to where Mr. Tuck was going to go to school.
Tuck eventually signed with the legendary Bill Hayward at the U of O. But rather than flourishing under his wing, Tuck suffered a career-threatening injury under Hayward's car.
That horrible twist of fate forever changed his prospects and his life.
He was in a car accident where Hayward was driving the car, supposedly had picked up some gals at a picnic area up in the mountains towards Mount Hood, and Hayward put the car in the ditch and it busted up Tuck's knee, and he was never the same after that.
At one point, Tuck got really concerned about the health of his knee, so he went to the doctor to get it looked at, but the doctor said he needed to amputate, and Tuck said no way, and got out of there as quickly as he could.
He was not going out of there without his leg, and my guess is that there wasn't a doctor around who was going to try to prevent him either.
When he got back home to get a second opinion, that's when the sparks in Redmond really started to fly.
He came back to Redmond to be treated by a Redmond doctor, and the doctor just went berserk as to how he had been mishandled at the university.
Tuck's physical abilities began to degrade, but he still had enough natural ability and gusto to represent the United States in the Olympics, even more so the decathlon, while he was still a teenager.
And Tuck always blamed Hayward for his lack of success then when Tuck went to the Olympics at age 19.
Sadly, along with physical degradation, Tuck largely retreated within himself, often looking back on what could have been. And while he never made a career as a track star, he did go on to become quite a legend with the state police.
If you're a criminal, don't get Art Tuck on your trail. Anybody else in any of the police departments or the state police, but if you get Tuck, you're in major trouble right from the beginning.
Finally, you know, it's interesting. The last person to win the decathlon for the United States was actually from Central Oregon. You know him as Ashton Eaton.
And 100 years before, there's a kid just 16 miles away who represents the United States also in the Olympic Games. It doesn't happen that often where in that particular event, you get 2 people from the same community representing the United States in the decathlon, the world's greatest athletic test.
For Central Oregon Daily News, I'm Scott Elness.